So welcome guys. Again, this is our Low-Tox Living event. And in case you are new to webinars and Zooms, there is a chat feature. So if you guys think of questions as we are going, please put them in the chat and I will make sure that I either stop at some point and address them or I save them for the end of this presentation. So the goal is to keep this around 45 minutes, but we do have a lot of information to share. And I wanted to kind of get you guys thinking about the concept of we want to keep this simple. So I'm going to share a lot of things, but I want you to really highlight a few of the things that would be most important for you as a starting point. So think about what are the toxins maybe you're exposing yourself to more that you might not be realizing that you might learn tonight. What might be something that you could swap? What might be something you could do to help your body detox? What could you do to maybe reduce some of your exposure to EMFs around us? We'll talk about what those are. And just in general, simplifying your environment. And after this, I will be sending you guys an email later with a downloadable guide that will also share some of this information. And again, this is recorded, so feel free to go back and do it at any time. So a quick introduction, as we have a few more that are joining in here. Welcome, guys. I have spent many, many years helping people with, reclaiming their health, their energy, their confidence, their long-term goals. But the whole concept of simple and sustainable changes is what is my passion. And I believe low-tox living isn't a trend. It's definitely something we want to make personal for each one of us. And I'm a mom of five. I'm a wellness coach, a fitness trainer, and just recently became a functional health practitioner. And I have been living a low tox lifestyle as much as possible for the last several decades. And I first got into this space, into health and wellness, due to my own health challenges. And that includes living with a rare vascular condition called Klippel-Trenaunay syndrome. And over time, I have really continued to learn more and more about how much our environment, the things that we are eating, the things that we are breathing, what we're putting on our skin, what we clean our homes with, these are all concepts that can support our healing or actually work against us. And this is where I think there's so much we can continue to share and learn. But I want you guys to think about, how can we make this, like I said at the beginning, sustainable? Keep this simple, right? And think about the big picture of, how this could play a part in improving your energy, your hormone balance, your immune resilience, helping to create homes that support wellness and not just stress. I have been in the fitness and health industry for almost 30 years and been with Shackley for almost 25 years. Have, really been working as we started our business, AV Wellness, to, look at all healthy habits, guys. And it's not just one area that we want to focus on, right? These are ideas and concepts we want to instill in as many areas as possible so that we can help build long-term health together. Welcome, you guys that are joining in here. So low tox living matters. One, I'll just throw out here a question and feel free to put your response, what you think it might be. As I've been doing a lot of health testing, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, there is one specific toxin that I have found really disrupts our hormones. Does anybody have a guess what that toxin might be? Let's see if we have any guesses. Might take you a minute and you can add them as you're thinking about it. Sugar, great one. Carla, yes, that would be a huge one to mention. This is actually something, though, I think you guys might be surprised about. Not a common one. And this is going to be talked about several times tonight. But actually, it's phthalates. And if you don't know what phthalates are, you're going to learn about them tonight. And as I mentioned at the beginning, guys, grab a pen and paper for some of the things I share. You might want to write them down. But why are they really a concerning factor? These are very toxic for the fact that they really create an endocrine disrupting factor into our body that messes with particularly our estrogen and our testosterone. And these have been linked to reproductive issues, to early puberty in girls, to hormonal imbalances, thyroid dysfunction, even an increased risk in testicular cancer. Now, here's the scary thing that I don't think we oftentimes hear about is what these phthalates are found in. I do not think I ever have heard somebody talking about how phthalates are found in perfumes and lotions and candles and air fresheners, things that we are breathing in. I think more of us are probably familiar with phthalates being in plastic containers, but even things like toys and shower curtains, your personal care products, deodorants, shampoos, your body washes, and anything that contains vinyl or PVC. They're oftentimes loaded with these phthalates. And actually, even some of our processed and our packaged foods, some of those packaging can also have the same thing. So, one thing to note, if you see something listed on your label as a fragrance or a perfume, it's a huge red flag because phthalates are frequently hidden in those two words. So, again, note fragrance or perfume. Those are the two things to note. And I think that, as we start to learn more about the chemicals, it is amazing how many things we are exposed to every single day. And there's a lot of areas we can look at. We're going to kind of highlight a few specific ones tonight. But you want to also note, guys, this isn't something I know a couple of you guys have recently done some health consults with, and you kind of mentioned how you might not notice these huge changes at first. But here's the thing, it's the long-term effect that we're going for, guys. So starting to just make these little things effective now can play a big part in down the road. And your home is one of the first places that we want to start to focus on. So, where do a lot of our toxins hide? We want to think about things that I just mentioned, but even in things like what we are cooking our food in, what we are storing our food in, what are the sources of maybe radiation and chemicals around us. This can be from all different types of products. This can be from even things such as simple as our cell phones. So, all things to start to be more aware of and start to be, just a little bit more conscious of. So, when we look at cleaning products, I always like to mention this, and it is Earth Day tomorrow, so happy Earth Day. And it is a great time to be thinking about, yes, the Earth, right? And how can we start to reduce our impact on the Earth? But one of the things that I always highlight, I can tell you guys many stories of, I'll give you an example of our old neighbor, actually. Her daughter was 12 years old and had missed a day of school almost every month, missed at least one day of school because of her asthma and her allergies being so bad. And long story short, the mom, Cindy, went in and she swapped all of their cleaning products, including their laundry products, with non-toxic options. They actually switched over to Shackley. And after implementing this, within 1 month, her daughter never missed another day of school or had to use her inhaler ever again. And now her daughter is 19 years old. And you don't always realize how those chemicals, you don't always notice it's immediate. But here's a really good story, though, is how this friend, her nephew came over to wash his clothes because he's at a local university and brought his own laundry products. And when he had finished washing and drying his clothes for the first time, her daughter started to have asthma symptoms and she couldn't figure out what was going on and, just kind of disregarded it. Well, he came back the next weekend and did the same thing, and the same thing happened. So basically, she determined it had to have been something in the fabric softener or the dryer sheets, most likely some type of fragrance. But these things play a part, guys. Oftentimes, these cleaners have formaldehyde, ammonia, loaded with VOCs, which are volatile organic compounds, and they can irritate your lungs, disrupt your hormones, contribute to your health risk long term, especially for kids and pets. You want to think about the lower they are to the ground, the more they are absorbing the chemicals that are being surrounded by them. So, another thing to mention, guys, any label you see, including cleaning products, you do not want to see the word fragrance added in any of those because that's often those hormone disrupting chemicals. Stay away from fragrances. Now, there are a lot of options out there for safer cleaning products. Everything from swapping bleach to vinegar and baking soda, or swapping air fresheners to essential oils or do-it-yourself type sprays. All-purpose cleaner, switching to biodegradable options. Look for fragrance-free or unscented for sure. Now, just some of the options that we have switched over to that we are a big fan of is a line called Get Clean. It is a Shackley line. These were actually the very first Earth Day products. Back in 1960, Shackley created this product, Basic H, that you can see on the screen. Actually, now it's called Basic H because it's twice as concentrated. But not only can you save money, you can actually clean many different ways from one product. And it is, again, super economical. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here really fast because I wanted to show you guys. Hopefully, you'll be able to see me. Can you guys raise your hand if you can see me? Perfect. Thanks. I wanted to show you guys super quickly how easy this is. So I have here this is a bottle of water, basically. Trying to figure out how to pin myself here. And this is basically one of the bottles you can get as part of the Shackley bottles. You can get a part of the Get Clean. But this is the basic H2, what I showed you guys the picture of. This bottle here, I have had for about 6 months, and you can see how much is gone. Now, we use this for cleaning our floors. We use it for bubble bath for our kids, believe it or not. We use it for window cleaner, degreaser. We wash our cars with it. We wash the dog with it. Like, I'm not kidding when I say there's over 1,000 uses you can do with this. And this bottle of Basic H2, the smaller size, costs about $10. I want to say this one's maybe $30. But again, you cannot be the cost effective of. So I wanted to show you guys really quickly here. This is 16 ounces of water. This is a quarter teaspoon of Basic H. Basically, I add my dropper for window cleaner. You would use 1 to 2 drops. I put it in my water, and just to show you how easy that was, I made that in about 5 seconds. So we have an all-purpose bottle ready to go. Our kids can help us clean. We don't have to worry about this. This is all green sealed certified. So it's actually a non-toxic biodegradable option that even if you were to drink it, not that I'm telling you to do that, it would never harm any tissue or any cell. And those are the types of things that we want to be more aware of. Think of even something as simple as your dishwasher, your dish powder. This is the hand dishwash, which we use about 3 drops of this to put into a sink full of dishes. And it does the same job, if not better, than your commercial cleaners that you are used to. But it doesn't have anything that's going to be harmful, and it uses biodegradable surfactants. So even the packaging, when you recycle this, hopefully, it will biodegrade on its own, which is a pretty cool fact about the Shackley cleaning products is they actually work, but then they also biodegrade. Now there are options for all different cleaning. So this would be a enzyme option, which I'm going to share a little more about that in a second here too. But this would be an alternative like your OxyClean. So you would buy the refill bag and you have the little canister here. We just keep this up on top of our washer, and I pour a little bit in each load, but this will brighten your colors and help with making your whites whiter. But one of the best things is when you learn how to use concentrates, no water is added to any of the products. You can use this for multi-purposes, for whitening grout, for taking out carpet stains. As you learn to use different options, you'll find it's really not as difficult as you think. And I think that's one of the things that really scares people is the fact that they don't quite have the idea of how it can be very easy to, go natural and go clean and learn how to reduce your chemicals. Sorry, guys, I can't find my screen here. Where'd you go? All right, so much for making that easy to switch over here. Let's try this again. Where did we go? That is so strange. Huh. Well, you guys get to see all my background here. As you can tell, there's a lot going on here. Oh, here it is. Okay, share. All right, let's make this bigger. Okay. Can you guys see that? Yes, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, here, guys. So Get Clean, like I said, a great option. Basically, I encourage people if they're starting to make switches for cleaning products, I highly recommend the Get Clean kit. It's $3,400 worth of cleaning products, and it costs $135 for everything you need for your entire house. That includes your caddy. That includes like the little dropper you just saw me use, all of your microfiber cloths, your laundry, your dishes, your dryer sheets. Makes it an easy way to switch. But we do want to think about, guys, one of the concepts of why this is a great option also is because it's pH balanced. So you're going to notice your skin doesn't react the same as it would to using other types of cleaning products. And one of the things that I would encourage you to do when you look at your cleaning products is look at the labels and see if you can find the ingredients. Same with personal care products. You will be amazed at actually finding the disclosure of what those other ingredients are is where the danger is. There has been over 80,000 chemicals introduced in the last 15 years that have not been tested in the United States for safety. That is very scary because we don't know the effects of what those ingredients are causing, but also think about what happens when we combine ingredients. That is a huge concern that we don't have those long-term studies validating that it's safe. So I encourage you to look at learning what you can do to start swapping out cleaning products. There's a great place to begin. So another area we want to look at is personal care products. This is kind of crazy. They say that the average woman to get ready in the morning, on average, puts on about 12 personal care products. And that is the equivalent to about 160 chemicals before breakfast. So think about why I'm saying these are huge factors for long-term health. Again, that's just in the morning. And many of these personal care products contain the ingredient I mentioned is causing a huge concern for hormone disruption at the very beginning. The phthalates, parabens, synthetic fragrances, all of these have looking at when we are building long-term health. There is a great website that I do recommend you. It is called the EWG, or the Think Dirty app is another one that you can download. But the EWG, I've been a big fan of because it's an independent third-party standard, okay, criteria, which is what we want, because that means that they don't allow companies to pay to be in the EWG. It's actually based off from, the studies and the standards. So it creates a little bit more of a even, playing ground for when we have these companies trying to get approval. But we want to know that they're safe. And this is, again, one of the reasons why I've chose to use Shackley for so long, because I don't have to worry because they do their own third-party standard testing. But I will tell you that all of the youth products are in the EWG. They are verified. So that makes you feel good that if you're looking for skincare, personal care, lotions, we don't have to worry, and it makes it easy to get them from one spot. But there's another good question for you guys. Feel free to put the comment in the chat. How long do you think it takes in your body when you put a lotion or something on your skin to get into your bloodstream? How long do you think it takes? You got a guess? Make sure you guys stay awake. I can tell Jesse's thinking hard over there. Yeah, thinking. Yeah. All right. 30 minutes. Good guess. Good guess. This is pretty crazy. 26 seconds, 10 minutes. Wow, you guys are way off. Can you believe that? 26 seconds it takes for something when it is applied to get into your bloodstream. So once again, think about that, guys. That is another, I think sometimes we just think putting that lotion on is innocent, or, we have to use an antibacterial product. It is going into your bloodstream. These are all things that we need to be looking at for a big picture of health standpoint. And I also did want to highlight right now, there is a great special. That product there on your right, when we talk about using clean products, this it's called vitamin, it's a C and E, it's a little capsule. But this is a huge promotion right now. And if you do have some areas that you have like a scarring or you need some brightness, that is a $94 so with a $175 order. So just wanted to make sure that I included that because I know sometimes people don't see the promotions. One thing I just missed on here, but I wanted to give you guys a couple other ideas. Deodorants. This is another area to think about, right? You're putting it underneath your armpits, which is a huge area for chemicals to be leached into your system. So what is the alternative swaps? There are a lot of natural options out there. And I will tell you guys, when it comes to ideally deodorants, not antiperspirants, because we're blocking the sweat barrier, that it can be hard to sometimes find good options that might work. Uh-oh, Carla. Hopefully other people can hear me. If you guys can't hear me, let me know. All right. Harder to hear me. I don't know. I'll talk louder. Hopefully we're okay. Yeah, But one of the products that I have found has been very helpful is Native is one of the main ones I've say people have had success with. So Native. Another one is Schmidt's Naturals, and that is Schmidts. That has been a popular one. And Primally Pure, that is another one. So again, Primally Pure. And the Primally Pure is an interesting one because it actually uses believe it or not, grass-fed tallow and essential oils. So it's kind of a interesting combination. They also sometimes use charcoal. That's another popular one. And the Shackley deodorant, they also have one that I find too. It works for some people, but I do believe our chemistry is different. So what works for somebody else might not work for you. So just note there are a lot of options and things that we can try to find what works best for us. All right, guys, kitchen and food storage. This is another very common area. We are cooking food every single day, most of us, hopefully cooking more at home. And what we are cooking in can release toxic fumes when overheated. And if you have older pans, they can actually contain PFOAs, which are linked to cancer and thyroid issues. Remember, this isn't about scaring us, right? This isn't about fear, but it's learning how we could do things a little bit differently. So what would be some good options for your pans, listed on there? Cast iron is always a basic go-to. A couple of brands and stainless steel, actually, those are kind of the two options we tend to lean towards. All Clad, ALLCLAD, is a great professional grade stainless steel. If you've never heard of that, the website is just allclad.com. They are durable at high temps and they don't have a coating on them. So the coating is what generally causes the danger when it's heated, releases the chemicals. A great cast iron is called Lodge, Lodge, Lodge cast iron, and it's very affordable. It comes pre-seasoned if you've ever used cast iron, and it naturally becomes non-stick if it's seasoned properly. And same thing, the website is Lodge. There is a website, so it's LODGEMFG.com. So feel free to check out some different options for cookware and your storage of your foods. Also, this is something very easy to change out, and it's not very expensive to start to swap out to using more glass options or silicone options. But plastics are one of those things that, again, we know, I'm sure all of us have heard about BPAs, but there's also things called BPS that does not have to be listed on your label. And what does it do? It mimics estrogen and disrupts hormone balance. So, plastics, guys, we have to be careful. And as soon as you heat anything in the microwave, we create a whole nother round of issues that can definitely play a part in what happens to our food when we cook it in the microwave. If you guys did not know that, basically, those chemicals get heated at mass, temperatures, and it's even more dangerous. So if you have to heat something in the microwave, ideally we want to be using something like a glass or a silicone. And believe it or not, I will tell you guys, our microwave broke about 2 years ago. And because it's one of those above the stove ones, it's really expensive to get a new one. So we just learned to live without one. And you know what? We've done it for over 2 years now. So if you're really microwave dependent, I will tell you, you can live without it. Yeah. All right. Let's look at here, guys. Storing food. Another idea. And maybe you've never heard of these before. But actually, let me back up here real quick. Your plastic containers, glass. We do like just basic Pyrex brand. I think that's very affordable. You can get them with lids. PYREX, and it's pyrexhome.com is the website. But there's also something, and maybe you've never heard of these, but they're called stasher bags. So Stasher. These are 100% food grade silicone reusable bags. They are freezer safe, dishwasher safe, and microwave safe. So again, super easy to use, reusable. The website is stasherbag.com, and it's a great option for even saving money because you don't have to keep buying plastic bags and putting those into our landfills and our environment. So, and something that you can use for an alternative to plastic wrap. Did you know there's actually reusable wraps? And you might see it on the screen there, beeswax sheets. These are organic cotton and they're come in multiple sizes, but they're a great washable, reusable, compostable option that you can use to cover your food. And the website is beeswrap.com. So WRAP, BEESWRAP.com. So again, just a fun option. There's also another brand called ETEE. So ET, and those are also plant-based wraps, but they also have lids and different bag sizes compared to the bees wrap. So, and it's the website is sorry, I can't talk. SHOPETEE.com. So it's shopet.com. So again, just some different ideas for thinking how you could store your food as another way to reduce your chemicals, guys. So moving on here. So here's another thing that I think a lot of you guys might be interested in learning more about this topic because it is getting to be more well known that basically your EMFs, your electromagnetic fields, these are areas of energy that surround electrical devices and wiring. And they're generated by movement of electrical charges through your conductors, like your wires and your devices. These are going to be coming from things like your phones and your computers, different types of EMFs, actually. So there are non-ionizing EMFs and there are ionizing EMFs. So the non-ionizing are the ones that are considered to be less harmful. These are things like your cell phones, your Wi-Fi routers, microwaves, your power lines, Bluetooth devices. But then there are also the higher EMFs. These are going to be the ones you probably hear of, X-rays and gamma rays, UV rays from the sun. Those are going to be, a lot stronger. But here's the problem is there's still a lot of prolonged exposure that we're learning that's coming from these non-ionizing radiation types that do pose health risks. And this is why I do think this is something we want to learn about how we can minimize our risk because we can't get rid of it, right? We're on our computers, our phones right now. It's not something we can get rid of, but we can learn how to better balance it, right? And so we kind of learn of why are these things, things that we want to start to, what are some of the concerns of them? Well, one of them is there's actually evidence that has proven that it can interfere with your body's natural electrical systems, particularly at your cellular level. And this is, again, not something you're going to see right away, right? You don't feel it. It's happening over time. But as this starts to break us down, we notice things start to change, even our ability to handle stress. They're saying that increased EMFs can also increase your stress hormones like cortisol. It's interesting when I've done tests, I've had EMFs pull up in people in their scans, and it's a direct correlation with, again, something that's going on around them, which affects your overall well-being, right? And also can affect your sleep. This is why they say to turn off possibly your Wi-Fi at night, or don't sleep with your phone next to your head, especially if it's charging. If it's on the charger plugged in next to you, that is going to expose you to almost 3 times the radiation. And high exposure can also create your melatonin levels to become imbalanced. And that's why it makes it harder for people to fall asleep. So I thought I would share here. Just this picture from Amazon. There are different options out there for ways that you can block some of the EMFs. So there are different shields out there. There are different you can buy that can be used like around your phone. I don't know if you have any of these things, but there are two resources that I pulled for you guys that I thought you might want to take note of. One is called SYB. The website is shieldyourbody.com. And this actually has in there EMF meters. You can buy a meter. I was going to find mine, but I couldn't find it. And you can actually carry it around and it'll show you in your house areas that have a higher reading. And again, this might be way out of your comfort zone, but it gets us to be more aware. And that's the idea why we're sharing all this. But you want to know that a lot of this, guys, is based on science. All right. So we do know that, this is happening and there are ways that we can decrease it. Another website is defendershield.com. And these shields are used, you can put them around your phone, around your laptop. They sell different cases. They have blue light and EMF blocking headphones and even blankets. And I will tell you guys, and I don't know if you guys can see me on your screen, but I just have, and I'm holding him up, but you might be able to see him. I went back to just good old plugging in my headphones, and I know the kids make fun of me because I'm not using AirPods, but these are like $9 online. I mean, we don't have to have, the things plugging into our ears all the time. So find a longer cord, and it's not a bad idea to just go back to hardwired options for headphones because you do want to think about that. The closer it is to, our brain, obviously it's going to be more of a concentrated source. So just to be thinking of other ways we can start to lessen our load for toxins. All right, guys, some safer swaps for supporting our body to be able to naturally detox. This is also a very important concept is how can we get our bodies to work better against all of these things around us? We can start to make those changes, right? But there are other things we can do. What is the water you're drinking? Have you ever had it tested? Can you put a filter on your sink? We have a reverse osmosis system put on ours. I know a lot of people like to have a pitcher in the refrigerator with a filter in it. That's definitely going to most likely be better than if you have city water or well water. Have it tested. Make sure that your water you're drinking is clean, guys. And there's a little recipe there if you guys want to take a picture of, you're welcome to. But even ways that you can enhance your water to give us detoxing properties. Love adding in there things like mint, lemon, limes, cucumbers, all great ways to help get your body to naturally rid of toxins. Make sure we are sweating, guys. The red light saunas are showing a lot of benefits in helping to rid the bodies of inflammation and toxins. And I just asked Mason before this because he goes to Planet Fitness and he goes there and does the red light. It's $25 a month that you can go there if you don't want to get your own sauna, but there are places that you can go to use these red light therapy options. But I tell you guys, I have had clients notice tremendous differences in their health. I actually have a guy who has a lot of health problems and he bought one from Costco. It's a two-person one. I want to say he said he got it for around $1,800. He has been using it 4 days a week, but he has rheumatoid arthritis and he says it is a night and day difference when he starts his day with using the infrared versus not. So we can say that, oh, sure, they're just making it up, but I'm telling you, it actually does work when you know people's personal testimonials and where they're coming from. For him to say that, I definitely, like to highlight that is something that can make a big difference. Eating fiber-rich foods, guys. Think about these. What are fiber-rich foods? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, right? The things that's helping to push the toxins through our intestinal tract to get it out of our bodies. If we're just filling ourselves all with dairy and things that could be more mucus forming, we are going to notice our body's not detoxing optimally. And that plays a big part, guys, in our bowel movements, in our ability to stay hydrated. These are simple things that we want to keep checking in on every single day. Prioritize your sleep, guys. Yes, it sounds basic, but I'm telling you, and I know, for example, one of you guys has a newborn. We all have different situations where sleeping might change throughout our life, but we got to keep trying to prioritize it. If you don't sleep well at night, take a nap when you can, right? Learn to set alarms. So when you do take a nap, it's only 15 to 20 minutes. Like find things to help you make sure, because when you are sleeping, guys, that's when your body is building and it's detoxifying. So get your sleep and use targeted supplements. This is also something I wanted to kind of highlight. There are a lot of different products out there when it comes to detoxing, and I'll tell you guys really fast, and she's not on this Zoom, so I'm okay to say this, but I had this client call me this morning and she left me a message. And long story short, she's having some issues with her blood pressure. So I called her back and I said, well, what have you been doing? What are you trying? And the first thing that she tells me she's trying, she is on day 2 of a water detox. So she is only drinking water as a way to reduce her blood pressure. Again, guys, learn about what happens when you drink water. Yes, it flushes your body, but of everything, right? You're going to be more likely to be pulling out all of your electrolytes. You're going to have no energy. You're not going to hardly be able to function throughout the day, and you're going to be in the bathroom all the time. So we want to be able to utilize safe options. There are a lot of options out there. When I tell you guys, from a detox standpoint and any supplement standpoint, be careful. Know where it's sourced from. Is it clean? Is it organic? Does it break down? Are there third-party tests on it? Just like we talked about with our cleaning products and our personal care products. Do we know that it is safe? And that's where I trust Shackley, and they have been around for almost 70 years. There's Nothing that I have ever seen against them in regards to toxicity or products being contaminated. But some of the ingredients that make these really and particularly important, liver DTX, guys. This is a big one. I actually know a couple of you guys use this all the time. But your liver, guys, filters toxins from your blood, right? So our liver produces bile, and that is essential for digestion and nutrient absorption. So if our metabolism for breaking down fats and proteins and carbohydrates properly, we're going to notice everything functioning better. And your liver health is key to helping us with these things. So some of the ingredients in this particular product you guys can see on the screen there is turmeric and milk thistle and artichoke and reishi mushroom. So these help to repair liver damage and eliminate toxins from the body. Remember, livers can be damaged from many things, from surgeries, from environmental factors, from, the bowels not working properly. But to get rid of those free radicals, that is an amazing way to help enhance our body's detoxification process. So liver DTX is a great one to know about, and feel free to look up some of those ingredients that are listed in there. I'm also a big fan of alfalfa. You guys can see on the screen there some of the things that helps with, but again, it's another way to pull heavy metals from our system. You can use these as part of, like, for example, a 7-day cleanse, or just intermittently whenever you feel like you need to give your body a break for detox. These are great options. Herblax is going to be specific to, if you guys are again reading on the screen there, it's a gentle detoxifier. It's different than a laxative, where it's again flushing everything out, good and bad. Those are the things we want to stay away from, guys. Even when it comes to antibacterial, that was a big trend for a while. Notice how we don't hear about it quite as much anymore because it can't differentiate. Then we notice resistance against bacteria because we're always washing away the good and the bad. So this is where learning about balance is very key. And you might be somebody that really struggles with understanding what is going on in your body. Maybe you do have a lot of health concerns. This is something that I like to mention because it's a newer process that I recently started implementing about a year ago. But doing bioenergetic testing is another way you can learn more about, specifically for you, maybe what toxins your body is holding on to, or maybe you're having some issues with, you know, uh, noticing that your gut health is just not where it needs to be, and you've tried different probiotics and it's not working. Sometimes there's reasons outside of our just check boxes that we think we can figure out, and this is a great way to do that. So I wanted to make sure I highlighted that, and I am doing $25 off if you've already done one of these scans. You can also use that off from your next scan. All right, guys, we talked about a lot of stuff here, so I want you to think about what is one area you're going to begin with. All right, feel free to put it in the chat. Let's hear from you guys. Maybe it's your bathroom, maybe it's your kitchen, maybe it's your vitamins, maybe it's your lotion, maybe it's your cookware. Let's hear, guys. The more that you put yourself into committing, the more likely you are to do it. I'm only telling you to pick one right now, but I would love to hear you guys doing 2 to 3 this month. And I will be sending you guys the downloadable guide that's going to help remind you of some of these things. And I will plan to send that out here later tonight after I teach class here in a little bit. All right, we got 2 for cookware. Anybody else? Cleaning products. All right. Yes. Good call. Smart. All right, keep them coming, guys. Like to hear those again, changes that you're going to be making. But remember, the goal is, guys, you have to just start. And there are a lot of options out there in areas that you can get information from. But I want to encourage you to keep learning. If I can help you guys in any way, I am always here. So feel free to reach out. But I would love for you guys, if you do have specific questions, I want you to go ahead and unmute yourself. And we got about 5 minutes here for questions. So does anybody have something they would like to add, or, a little more explanation on? Feel free to unmute yourself here. Or if not helpful. All right, I can't unmute you guys, so if you need to figure it out a second. If not, hopefully that just means you're all excited to go start making your healthy changes here. Okay.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, real quick on the EMFs. Okay, there's the ionizing and the non-ionizing ones. What can you explain that again, please?
no, great question. No, there's a lot to kind of cover in those. So what they're saying is the non-ionizing ones are the ones that have less harmful
Oh,
activity, they're saying. Okay. So the ionizing are the ones that we know obviously have a really high impact into damaging cells and DNA. And those are the big ones that are radiation found in like, your X-ray,
Okay.
gamma rays, not stuff we want to be exposed to every day. So, um,
And
go ahead.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Okay, so then there are things that we can do to protect us from, I mean, because the non-ionizing ones can still affect us, and that's where like the shields and stuff would come into. Okay.
100%. And even I have heard of a lot of people finding a way to turn off their Wi-Fi router at night. That is a really easy way for while you're sleeping to give your body a break from that exposure around you. So that is a really good one to start with.
Okay. All right.
Question. Good. Anybody else? All right, guys, I wanted to highlight here really fast also a couple things because it is Earth Day tomorrow. But Shackley is doing a great, they always try to work on doing something for the environment. So this week, any order, they're planting a tree and they are recovering 1 pounds of plastic from the ocean. And that's part of their American Forest campaign and part of the Shackley Clean Hub. So they're always trying to do things which I appreciate for the environment. And also, guys, I am going to be sharing for anybody that places an order the rest of the week as part of our Earth Day and as a thank you, a decluttering and cleaning planner. So I will be sending that out also. And as a reminder, guys, $25 off from a full scan. And please, if you guys have any questions, reach out. I am going to go ahead and step up here. If you do think of something, I will hang out here for a little bit. Otherwise, I hope this was helpful, guys. This was recorded. Feel free to share it with someone that this might help. Thanks, guys.